"You don't scare me, tin soldier," the boxer sneered, seconds before his fist flew through the air and slammed into the jaw of the unmoving guard. The reaction was immediate. Gasping tourists, a child's cry, and a wave of disbelief froze the entire scene at Arlington National Cemetery. Marcus "Mad Dog" Dalton, once a heavyweight champ and now better known for his viral rants and headline-grabbing outbursts, had arrived for a flashy promo shoot. Decked in designer gear and mirrored sunglasses, he walked with the arrogance of someone who believed the rules only applied to other people. But the instant he crossed the black rope onto the sacred plaza of the tomb of the unknown soldier, everything shifted. "Sir, step back," the guard commanded, voice like steel, hands gripping an M14 rifle, every inch of his stance sharp and unshaken. The sentinel, a soldier from the 3rd U.S. Infantry, known as the Old Guard, didn't blink. Dalton smirked, turned slightly to flash a grin at the camera crew capturing his rebellious persona, and moved in closer with deliberate disrespect. "Step back," the guard said again, firm but calm. Still, Dalton didn't listen. He turned, squared up for the camera, and threw the punch. It landed, but the soldier didn't move an inch. He stood like a statue forged in iron. Then came his only response. "You have disrespected hallowed ground. You are now in custody under military authority." Within moments, 2 uniformed men appeared, one a captain, the other a master sergeant. They moved without hesitation, surrounding Dalton in silence. He tried to retreat, shouting about his rights, about lawyers, but the crowd's judgment was louder than his voice. Onlookers parted, not out of fear, but to clear his path of shame. Then, through the tense silence, a figure stepped forward. An older man with silver hair and a Medal of Honor resting on his chest. Retired Colonel Thomas Braddock, a veteran of Vietnam and a living legend, stood firm and locked eyes with the boxer, who now sat on a bench like a child sent to time out. "Tough guy, huh?" Braddock said, voice calm but heavy. "Try standing guard through snow and blistering heat for someone whose name you'll never know, who never came home." Dalton, for once, had no reply. "That man you hit," the colonel continued, nodding toward the sentinel, "he's memorized exact steps, marches for hours without breaking focus, doesn't flinch through storms or stairs, all to honor the nameless. That's not strength, that's honor." Something shifted in Dalton's face. The swagger disappeared. Slowly, he removed his shades. Behind him, the production crew lowered their cameras. Even the influencer with the ring light quietly stepped back. Dalton stood on unsteady feet and asked, "Can I make it right?" The captain beside him gave a single nod, and so Dalton returned to the tomb. The sentinel still hadn't moved. Dalton bowed his head low and said, "I disrespected you. And this place. I'm sorry." The guard remained still, but behind him, one soldier gave the slightest nod, acknowledgement enough. Dalton retreated behind the rope. Someone in the crowd began to clap, then another, then all of them. Not for the man he was, but for the man he'd just become. His story unfolded after that. Marcus had grown up in chaos, fighting for every scrap of food, for his name, his place, his survival. Respect, he used to say, was just a word for losers. He made headlines for showboating, ignoring refs, treating the sport like a stage for ego. But that day in Arlington, he found something fists couldn't buy: discipline, silence, sacrifice. The soldier he'd hit? That was Specialist Andrew Morales, 24 years old, 3rd-generation Army, who trained nearly 2 years to earn a post less than 800 men have ever held. Marcus's punch didn't just land on a soldier, it struck a symbol millions revere. He never stepped into a ring again. Instead, he started a new mission, a foundation named 21 Steps, dedicated to teaching young fighters what no boxing gym ever could: respect, honor, control. The first lesson for every kid: visit Arlington. A year later, Marcus returned alone, dressed in black, no press, no fanfare. He watched the changing of the guard from a distance, and as the sentinel passed, Marcus stood straight, hands clasped, head lowered. The guard paused for just a breath, mid-stride, then continued, flawless and focused. Some blows teach pain, others teach purpose. If this story moved you, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if you believe respect is earned in silence, not shouted through fame, you know what to do.